talk about the 1990s. You know, the 1990s was pretty understated. However, the highlight of the 90s, I would say, are two specific looks that really, I think, encompassed what the 90s was all about. I mean, there were the supermodels, the original supermodels like Christy Turlington, Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, Stephanie Seymour, Linda Evangelista. You could see them on the George Michael's video. And then you still have Madonna, who was a very big icon. I mean, these are the people that really made what the 90s glam was all about. And then you also have the wafy models like Kate Moss, who really kind of took a modern day edge to that whole Twiggy, that really super skinny, super thin, wafy looking models back on the map. And Kate Moss, even till this day, is very iconic. Much of the 90s style makeup was often very soft and bare, earthy without a shout out on definitely the browns. The browns were the big colors, very matte, very muted. Lots of brownish lip liner, and there's definitely matte powders, brownish pink shades of blush. And the eyeshadow was often nude, but mascara was very intense. With looks like this, it was all about eyeliner, but not like liquid eyeliner or gels. It was more very just a rimming around the eyes, no cat wings or anything like that. There was just pretty much a rim of it around the eyes. And then also, neutral shade was really big. Peachy colors, very Bobbi Brown-esque. If you want to take that whole concept, definitely, I would say even like if you look at Kim Kardashian's smoky eye, a lot of that is very much like from what was going on in the 90s. Smoky eyes were really big back then, and lots of lip liner, and they would put the lighter color in the middle of the lips. So, I mean, the looks are different now, but definitely some of the looks that are used in that time frame is still being used today, but maybe with a little bit of a different edge. And then you have also the other spectrum, which is the grunge fashion, which is to be believed that it was originated in the United States in the early 90s. I believe more of the target area was Seattle. Like you had the groups like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and those kind of bands that really, the garage kind of alternative band sounds. They wore a lot of holy jeans and plaid work shirts. They really brought it to fashion. The unkept hair, the hair that looked like they just woke up and just didn't even brush, and they looked like they didn't bathe for a few days. That was kind of an interesting time, and that was the other spectrum. They would also bleach their hair kind of all, at the tips, and then you had your boy bands as well, like your Boys to Men, and then you had also New Kids on the Block. So they did a lot of like dark roots and blonde tips. So that was a very big time 90s look as well. And then you had also some influence of gothic, modern grunge, which is heavy black eyeliner and mascara that was really smudged and out all night look. So the 90s had a really interesting diversity, and yet it was very all about understated fashion, understated colors. It was all about neutral tones. It's about kind of making statements more than, and it was kind of a rebel against the 80s, because the 80s was kind of a mishmash of all over the place, and definitely focused on opulence and decadence, where the 90s was kind of a rebel against that. So definitely there's definitely some transition for sure from the 80s to the 90s, but not so much from the 90s to the 2000s, even though now I would say after 2010 and on, things are starting to really shift again. So, yeah, the 90s definitely is not too far in history, but definitely had its own thing. So definitely make sure to look at a lot of what happened during that time. Madonna's videos were big. George Michael's. You had some definite iconic looks in the 90s that were still, I mean, still can be looked at as fresh in many ways because of the naturalness. But yeah, really interesting time.